All right, we're live on video. Stand by for audio. All right, good day and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another Live the Fuel show. So this evening, because it is the evening in my time, we're bringing on, yes, yet another new guest co-host. I apologize. We just keep meeting new and exciting people, and you get to enjoy it with me. So this new guest co-host for you, I'm excited because we talk about health, business, and lifestyle. And she's easily going to be able to hit on all three. But I'm already excited. I'm like, man, when I launch this, am I going to lean her more to the lifestyle side? Am I going to lean her into some of the business stuff? Because we just started chatting about them before we hit the mic today. So let me dig into it, because you might think it's all business, because she is a business advisor. She's a master coach. She's an energetic lifestyle piece thought coach. So Energetic Solutions is a brand. It was founded to help entrepreneurs and individuals alike to achieve amazing results using uncommon, ancient, mind you, principles. She's helped over 25,000 entrepreneurs, people, CEOs, leaders. I mean, they're all there to achieve freedom and flow. We talked about flow on this show in business and in life. So when entrepreneurs feel they can't go further amid challenges, multiple odds, her techniques and principles bring the clarity, simplicity, and profits your way. So her clients are rewarded with the ability to become that extra force they need to succeed. So without further ado, welcome our latest new guest co-host, Sheevaun Moran.
Hey, Scott. I'm super excited.
I'm super excited.
We're going to have a lot of fun, I know.
Because you understand energy. I mean, even though I kind of like your very first part of your bio, and there's a lot more to her bio, ladies and gentlemen. There's just so much going on. I get it. Okay, yeah, you talk business, but I love the energy component, and that's what excited me when I learned about you. And I'm like, and plus when I do some screen sharing on today's show for the YouTube feed out there, shout out to our YouTubers. You got a lot of buzz and a lot of spark, or a lot of ignite going on in your site too. So. Let's dive into that, because obviously I'm a marketing guy. I love geeking out. I'm not just a health and fitness junkie, but do you love the fiery, electrified components in your branding? Obviously, you can put on your site.
Yeah. So, that's fascinating, because when I first had somebody do my first website, I'm a woman, I'm blonde, and, it's supposed to be all this femme, and, I grew up a tomboy. So, they actually.
But you don't look like a tomboy here.
I know, right?
I'm obviously screen sharing, ladies and gentlemen. It's her name, SheevaunMoran.com. So SHEE, V as in Victor, AUN as in Nancy, M as in Mary, ORAN. It'll be in the show notes. It'll be on LilyFuel.com. Beautiful woman, and I love the fact that you do have roots as a tomboy, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So keep going. I love it.
Yeah. So they did this fluffy pink purpley stuff, and I was like, okay, but here's the challenge. I'm kind of like a little direct and kind of intense with my clients. I guess I've always been. And so I took a more active role in making sure that the texture really matched, because it's difficult to, like, when you say, like, it's difficult to match business and woo, there really isn't anybody else.
You and I are both wooers.
Yeah, you got the woo people, right? And everybody really likes woo. It's just they're not really willing to admit it until fairly recently. So
and let's pause real quick for the people who haven't heard it on this show, who are newer listeners. Why are we so excited about woo? Where's that come from?
Yeah, well, Einstein started it, but light beams, all that stuff like that. I'm a science geek, so why do we want woo? So if you look at Elon Musk. You look at anybody who is doing something big in their world, they're actually practicing, stuff like that.
Showing a book, ladies and gentlemen, Strengths Finder 2.0. I took the little test. I have woo as one of my top strengths.
Woo is one of your top strengths. It's classified as woo, right?
Yeah. Apparently I'm a big wooer. Maybe I was meant to launch a podcast, apparently. I don't know.
Hey, you know what? That reminds me of something when I was in corporate, and I'd left for a while and I went back, and I was helping CEOs of pharmaceutical companies get their products out there.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my specialty at the time in helping their companies get big and sold. And I was gone for like a year and a half, and I came back and I met with like the CEO of like Pfizer and a couple other pharma companies, and they were in the process of negotiating, and they were like, well, what have you been doing? Where have you been? What's been happening with you? I said, oh, you don't want to know, really. You don't want to know. And so they badgered me a bit, and I said, all right, listen, I'm talking about the soul, and I'm talking about how the soul and the business all blend together. And when you have things, and went on like this, and all their eyes lit up, and each of them went on a tangent. I was like, oh, people really want this. So actually, they're the ones who helped me just take it more into a more mainstream
pharmaceutical corporate executives helped you get a wake-up call and realize where you were meant to go?
One of the many little breadcrumbs. Isn't that wild?
That is wild, because I spent time in the corporate space, not pharmaceutical, but I was a business coach with T-Mobile, big telecom wireless company. I was it's funny. That company, I could see it. Pharmaceutical, don't see a lot of wooing and alignment of energy sometimes. But hey, again, I'm the outside looking in. And obviously it was meant to be.
They don't live their talk. So
no, I have many friends that have left the pharmaceutical space due to who are very successful, mind you, but just the beat down, the energy impacts. Let's be real, the energy impacts. And this isn't just pharmaceutical, right? I mean, this is something we've heavily talked to for us today, is that we've talked to before on this show about adrenal fatigue, exhaustion, burnout. I have a regular co-host on every month, Travis Rosnos. He's trained in the Wim Hof method. You ever hear that?
I have. I've met him, yep.
So he's a Wim Hof guy, all about the ice baths and the breathing exercises and all the energy alignment. The last 2 months, we released episodes on burnout. And it's affecting the millennial generation too, not just the Gen X or older. So,
yeah, big time. Yeah, it's a big deal. So there are a lot of I call everybody who is an entrepreneur or really a high level achiever, they're like hidden woo people. And they're doing some woo thing in their world. But here's the fascinating thing. And you guys talk about health, which I love. Is one of the fascinating things about woo people is they actually need one thing that nobody talks about nutritionally. And that's called minerals.
Yes. Mineral density and vitamin density in your food is not the same as it was 50 years ago. Obviously, I'm referring to whole food from our earth. So, they underestimate, these are the essential building blocks at the cellular level.
Totally.
And we slowly diminish the value of that over the past, decade after decade after decade of poor farming. Because I grew up on a farm, I know. So I love geeking out about that, because of guys, unfortunately, we do have to embrace some level of supplementation these days. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's essential. One of the things I didn't understand was by the time we're 25, our bones actually start losing light. If I use energy terms, they start losing the light that actually helps us be who we are.
Nobody has ever said that way on this show. You're sparking me right now. I'm loving this. So I knew you'd be an amazing co-host, but okay, come on guys. The listeners are hearing this and they're like, that sounds not just woo, that just sounds wooey, as in crazy. What do you mean by the light given off from the bones, so to speak?
Yeah.
Help me understand.
So if you think about who we are as beings, and we're all of these atoms and molecules and so on and so forth, and we're made of energy. A dense amount of energy is placed into our bones in order for us to be Homo sapiens erectus.
Sure.
And so as soon as we don't have enough mineralization, and then we get into stress and burnout and adrenal fatigue, the light goes away, and it actually makes our bones porous. And it actually makes us deficient in, we talk about vitamin D, all of the things that we're deficient in.
Sure.
And then our brains can't think, because then we've lost the light in the bone, and then our brains are our biggest.
Well, that's interesting, because I've had on way back. I mean, he's still, I don't know if anybody's ever beaten his downloads. Dr. Jack Cruz. You familiar with him? He's a famous neurosurgeon and neuroscientist, and he's got a viral following. I mean, crazy, because his whole speaking on stage is about the crucial balance of light, water, and magnetism for our cellular health. And he purposely moved to Louisiana to get closer to the equator so you get maximum UV exposure. Healthy people. It's not actually bad for you. Healthy UV exposure. He's anti-sunblock. He's the one who taught me about, I got these little bags here of blue blocker glasses that I wear after 6, 7 p.m. when I'm working on my computer. I'm blocking all that blue light. And, I learned so much from him. And that was way back on episode 51. So it's been a while. We have 200. We're approaching 220
I met this
shows.
guy. Did you ever hear of Wayne Green, who he founded Byte Magazine and actually the CD-ROM?
Oh, anyway. Yeah. Well, as soon as you said CD-ROM, now I know where that name's connecting for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so he created that, and he was like the original guy who started talking about how farming and mineralization was really at a crucial turning point, and also how not to use sunglasses, et cetera, et cetera. And he left the planet at like 92.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, the crazy thing is when I used to be a wildland firefighter out west, like we were all about the sunglasses that were like, they were rated for safety and they had to look cool. And because we were government employees, like we were all about, okay, well, because we got pro deals, because we're government employees, so you got a special price direct from the manufacturer. So each of us had these like bad, really cool, like, badass sunglasses. And now I still have some of those, and they're sitting in a box because I have retrained my eyes over the past year and a half to no longer need sunglasses.
Right. And yeah. It's amazing.
Here's a crazy thing. Once you start geeking out about health and also business stress, let's tie it full circle. When you start fueling your body right with the vitamins and minerals, you start resting it properly, recovering it properly, giving it what it needs. I do not wake up in the morning and go outside, because I go out and I do grounding on the lawn. I ground myself, or some people call it earthing, trying to reconnect my body's energy with the earth. I mean, some people might hear that and sounds like it's crazy, but hey, I feel energy.
Oh no, I'm going to teach you all a really cool trick that I teach all of my CEOs. So remind me to teach you that.
Oh, I love tricks. Yeah, I'll finish this real quick then. So the whole point here is that I could look at the sun. Granted, you don't look directly at the sun, but I used to get the whole squinty thing. And when you're rested, recovered, and you're not under stress, like the cortisol levels are down, like you don't have any built up, exhaustion. I don't squint. I'm not freaked out by the sun. I embrace it. I drive down the highway into a sunset. I might drop the visor a little bit just to get that, cut the instantaneous, like big glare of the sun setting. But other than that, I'm good to go, man. I haven't worn sunglasses in almost a year.
Do you have dark eyes or light eyes?
I do have brown eyes. So
so dark eyes, it's a little bit easier that way. I have light eyes, so it's a little bit less, but I don't squint that much.
Well, the point is, I learned about again, it's about if your cortisol levels are high and you're stressed out and you're not properly rested, you're not recovered, let's tie it back to minerals, right? Like I take a magnesium supplement, right? So that's crucial. Magnesium is essential for at the cellular level. It's part of the power plant of the cell. I mean, besides the water, it needs magnesium. So that's a crucial mineral to back up what you were saying that I've learned about. So, but let's tie that forward then. So, what's your hack? What's your trick? What do you got?
Yeah. So that's important. Everything you said, I'm like 100% on there with you. But here's a hack that you don't have to you can't go out and obviously always in the winter. So I created hacks. Okay. So you take your left 2 fingers under your nostril. All right. And the right palm under the base of don't pick your nose. Under the base of the nape of your neck. Okay. And then tongue on the roof of your mouth. Are you punking me right now or no? No.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm actually doing this. If you want to go watch the YouTube, I'm going to do this with her. So I got the roof on the tongue on the roof.
Take your tongue on the roof of your mouth and breathe in through your nose. And pause and breathe out through your nose. And pause. So that's step 1. Okay. Step 2 is left thumb to right earlobe. Pinch. Oh. I know, ish.
All right.
It's tricky. Thumb on top. Put your thumb on top.
There we go.
The other way. Yep. And then right thumb to left earlobe. Thumb on top.
We're gonna unplug the headphones here. 1 second. Take the headphones off, people.
Momentarily.
There we go.
Sorry. I'm the co-host that breaks everything. Okay, so tongue you work through mouth. Inhale through your nose. Take a breath in and pause. And exhale through your nose. And pause. Okay. Step 3, you can put your headphones back on. Step 3, you're going to put your right wrist over your left wrist.
Right wrist over my left wrist. Okay.
Right wrist over your left wrist.
All right.
Left ankle over your right ankle.
Hopefully I don't fall over.
Inhale. Now you won't. You're strong. Inhale through your nose. And pause at the top. And exhale through your nose. Great. So come back to the mic and tell me how you feel.
Kind of like neutral. I think it's just flat line, right? Like it's just, I can't explain it. Neutral. Even, yeah.
Yeah, like a good even.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't like stressed out today anyway, but I have been going all day. I literally had just gotten home and turned on the call. Like, so it was, there was no downtime. So
yeah.
I do feel, neutral is like the word that comes to my mind for some reason.
Okay.
Steady, flat line, smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flow, maybe kind of like.
So is that a trick to kind of open up a flow state?
Yeah, it does. So what it does is it takes our mental brain and our physical body and then any energies that are chaotic around us, and it brings them all together to what I call the midline.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I do yoga and stuff. So
really allows us, it really allows us actually to anchor into the earth in a very, really simple way. If we can't, like if we're out there in our, somewhere out in the world where it's crazy and you're just like, everything's chaotic. That's the coolest, easiest thing you can go do.
Now, obviously, if I did that while earthed or grounded, that's probably even more powerful. If I'm standing on the 50th floor of a skyscraper, hiding in a conference room to do this, it's not going to probably hit the same level of magnitude, right?
Some people, yes. Depends on the person. Every person, every person is different. But the idea is the more you do it, the more the more that cohesiveness of your system actually gets, it's not as difficult to get it out of line. It's like, it takes more and more. So you're more resilient effectively. And so the earthing is amazing. Sure. Great. Do it. This is the hack for when you can't do any of that or all of that. And, life is just happening.
The biggest point about the earthing that I've studied about is that, the earth resonates at a certain frequency. So, at the cellular level, we are resonating at a certain frequency. The biggest issues over the decades as mankind has morphed and matured and grown and changed is that our frequencies have gotten miswired. And the point of earthing, or at least going out and just, bare feet, is that you walk around in leather shoes or insulated boots or whatever, and you don't have the ability to connect and get your body to actually say, oh, that's what the natural Earth's frequency is. So the whole point is, like they say, it's like little by little, you're kind of reprogramming yourself at the cellular level to match up the frequencies again. And there's a lot of health benefits. And I have noticed after a few months of doing it, like I get an energy spike. So I feel good.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah, it's very good. So all of these apply to like CEOs and so on and so forth. We have a lot of stress. We do a lot of chaotic things. And so I was like, well, what can somebody do at their desk that will take like less than a minute? And so that's a really good one.
So since we're geeking out about energy, let me do some screen sharing again here. I didn't get a chance to get this yet, but on your site, you have the ability on your main homepage, ladies and gentlemen, when you scroll down, you can get her, it's a free book, 5 Essential Energies to Success. So we're talking about energy and alignment right now. Now, do you geek out about some of that in this, or are you basically helping people understand, like, these are the most common 5 energy levels that successful people have? What's that all about?
I over-deliver. I'm one of those over-deliver kind of people. So I geek out. I don't go into too much technobabble because not everybody's wants to technobabble out.
Like you and I.
But I really talk about what are the 5, how do they affect you, what to do about it. It's not just like, oh, well, here's the clickbait. It's actual real stuff. I mean, I
Right.
spent a long time writing it, and I'd rather somebody understand and be a good, energetic human, good, energetic, successful business human, than just clickbait crap.
I
It's
agree.
just like, I want people to be like, the more vibrationally resilient we are, the more creative we are, the more prosperous we become, the better we are in relationship. And so those are super important to me. So yeah, it's very geeked out, but without a lot of technobabble.
No, I think that's actually great because you are correct. I mean, I've talked about this in whether we're talking, if I'm talking to a sports psychologist versus a nutritionist versus a geneticist on this show versus an entrepreneur or a startup guy, online marketer, it doesn't matter, is that
Yeah.
no matter what profession or what expertise we're discussing, we're just all at a different place on the knowledge timeline. It doesn't mean that the person who gets this, who doesn't understand all of it yet, they will eventually will. And it's just that, like, you and I are geeking out about technobabble. Well, because we're just further down the timeline and now we geek out about it. Whereas if it was 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't be geeking out about it at that level. So we've just acquired a little bit more knowledge to help us embrace it a little bit further. It's like that movie, The Secret, the book. Oh my God. The first time I read that book and the first time I watched that movie, I was like, what in the world did I just consume? And I think that's probably normal for most people, actually. So I'm sure you've consumed that, right?
Well, do you really want to know my take on that?
Hey, we're having fun today. I mean, listen, my whole thing is
Okay.
some of the stuff makes sense and
So,
some of it's a little
here's
wonky.
my take on this. My take on this is, I've been doing this stuff since I was a little kid. And I've always thought the way that I teach and the stuff that I share, now I just have a better way of languaging it and getting it out to a larger population. And so when I saw that, I had a very full practice. I had offices in 4 states. It was kind of a big, and somebody brought it to me and they said, here, watch this. And I was like, what is this? I was like, oh, that's good. You're giving people baby steps so they can actually take another step and get to where I'm at. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's not bad. And the frustrating thing for me is it leaves out some very important elements.
Yes.
And that's really the crisis that it puts people into this crisis mode of, it doesn't work, I'm not doing that crap, it's super stupid.
The other thing, a part of that is it's you are correct. They're missing some of, like you said, like, oh, they're giving you the baby steps, but part of the baby steps have too much technobabble. So some people, again, the outside looking in the first time, I'm like, what the heck is this hokey junk? And like some of the stuff, it kind of made sense. And it got me to at least start practicing it and trying it years ago. So at least it was somewhat
it's good.
And it opened me up deeper into my personal professional development over the years. So I'll give it some props, but to back you up, some people looking at that are like, what? That's all BS. Other people who do embrace it, you are right. It doesn't really take you into the middle realm. It's like all or nothing. And a lot of people do get frustrated because they don't understand. The whole point is this: just because you align your energies and you chant or whatever you want to do to get yourself dialed in, and you say you want a successful online business making $500,000 a year, and then in 5 years making, $2.5 million a year, even if you lay out your goals and you envision it, what you don't understand is just doing that's not going to actually do it. But their whole point is that now that you've got your mind aligned, the body will follow, the thoughts will follow. Now it's going to be a little bit easier to start putting in the reps. And that's my little slogan since I've launched this show. And I use it all the time now. I was like, guys, guess what? I don't care what you're doing. You have to take action. You have to put in the reps. You have to start making mistakes. And then if you're getting tired of making mistakes, you start working with people like you. Like, it's like, okay, guys, now it's time to hire a coach or an influencer who's further down the timeline than you. And that's the only way to kind of start hacking that time issue, is if you want to speed it up, you got to work with somebody. Am I wrong on that?
Yeah. No, that's how I ended up doing what I was doing. People just wanted to pay me for all of the stuff I was helping them with. And I was like, well, you can all deal with meditation, mindset and do the secret stuff, but I'm actually going to teach you how to do it based upon the model you've been taught in school, based upon the model that we use, like when we have business speak. So I'm going to teach people how from where they are, as opposed to, oh, I'm going to teach you up here and maybe give you about a tenth of what you really could use to take another step. So I just really walk people through it as to where they're at, whether it's, a dentist in a dental practice or an online business. I'm an ex-coder, so I geek out on that stuff. And I think in that code kind of thing. And it's like, well, it really is the energy first, and then it affects the mind. Because if we're indoctrinated energetically into the corporate mentality, burnout, push down, etc., that you're talking about, then we actually have to learn to break that energetic and break it in a holistic way so it doesn't break us, period. And generally it breaks us, period. And that's frustrating.
Well, and I love one of your pages, actually, when people dig into, again, ladies and gentlemen, you go to her name, SheevaunMoran.com. You click on the book, for example, and it's kind of like it's your secondary bio, but it's part of your bio. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and share that again for the video feed. I like the words right here that practical is your key word here. So you have practical, step-by-step how-tos right here, to live joyfully. So some people might read that and they'll be like, thanks for promising me some woo-woo joy. But like, okay, the whole point of that tagline there for me is it doesn't need to be rocket science. And that's what powerful influencers are helping people do. It's like, we're trying to cut through the BS to get you to understand this stuff better, so you aren't as stressed out and you start taking easier and more methodical actions. And for you, putting joy into your bio, I mean, what made you put joy in? I'm just intrigued. So, because everybody has different buzzwords.
I love this question.
Oh
my God. Nobody's ever asked me this question. This is the best.
All right. It stood out to me.
So I had this guy who, we were on some retreat. We were geeking out on the energy thing, and he started talking about this word Ananda, and I was like, Ananda, I love that energy. What is that? Oh my God, let's explore this Ananda. And so we started playing around with Ananda. And it was really what really started to happen as we got into it. It started having everybody, there were like 100 of us, and this little table where we started, we had the entire place raucously laughing for no reason. And Ananda is joy.
Oh.
And joy energy
what
is
language
contagious.
Is
that? And it's Sanskrit. It's Hindu.
Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that energy around Ananda, around joy, is something we see with kids, but we don't bring it forth into our big grown-up life. And then we seek freedom, and we get so far away from joy that we see things like people on videos on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, like people on subways, laughing out loud, and then the rest, and then we pass by, and we don't think that that's for us.
Right.
And we really can bring that into us and live from that place, and more and more and more. But I love that question.
I'm glad I was able to trigger you on this, because I think this is important for us to dig deeper into, because I'm an entrepreneur. I wasn't always an entrepreneur. I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, but I came farm kid chasing corporate dreams to getting a wake-up call and then doing the firefighting to kind of take a break. And then
so what was the thing in the wake-up? What was the wake-up call? What was the one moment?
What was I've used this. Oh, you know what? I'm glad you're bringing this up. This is another chapter, because I'm writing a book about this right now. This is a chapter. I got to write this down. It was, I got to write the word. Ladder. Okay. So ladder. Why am I writing that? Because that's going to help me remember to write a chapter for this. Because I'm literally in the middle of writing my first book. So one of my mentors was like, "Hey, Scott, are you really happy where you're at?" He's like, "Because I feel like you get all excited when you get promoted and you keep moving up and you're making more money than your buddies." Because this is back when I hadn't even finished my degree. I I just started chasing corporate and busting my butt and earning every promotion I did. And I was making more money than my friends that already had their degrees. And then I eventually made myself go back to school because I thought that's what I needed, which, to be honest, I'm not even using it. But anyway, his tagline was, he's like, well, eventually you're going to realize that as you climb that corporate ladder, each rung you reach for, each rung you step up on and keep climbing and climbing and climbing, there's always somebody else's fat ass above your head. And I was like, that was his thing. That was it. I was like, what? And it stopped, and it just stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, interesting. And it rang briefly, and then I moved past it because I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. Because I've seen him go through, I remember I saw that guy go through like a bankruptcy and stuff like that. So I saw my father struggle as a childhood. So I always saw entrepreneurship as not a good idea. And because I wasn't allowing myself to open up to that. Well, that quote, that little saying, I've used years since, because some people are okay with that. And you may eventually become the president of the company. And then your company goes public, and then you got a board of directors and stockholders, and now you have a whole bunch of people over your head, because now it's not your boat anymore, right? You're no longer the captain. So it's just interesting, because I have friends of mine and colleagues that have led companies to success. They've sold them. They've been rehired as the president of the company, even though they made millions of dollars, but they don't really have the end all say all anymore at the company. Yeah. Right? So you see where I'm going with this. So anyway, it was just interesting. That was kind of like the epiphany. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not happy. I'm just chasing the job titles and the salaries, and I'm not actually looking for purpose or meaning, or I was financially driven, and that was it. And that's not a healthy place to be. Yeah. And there was no joy. No joy.
Yeah, you got to have joy. Joy is like the secret weapon. Yeah, really, it's a secret weapon.
Well, it's like the firefighting. I made way more money in the corporate space being a wildland firefighter with the U.S. Forest Service. Like you're not showering sometimes for 2 weeks. You're hiking in the mountains. You're covered in soot and you're breathing wildfire smoke and being yelled at and told what to do. And like, it's a very humbling experience, by the but it's like, but for my adrenaline junkie spirit, I was joyful, man. Like I was loving it. It was, it was, that was the most extreme thing that I'd ever done in my life. So it was a different shift. And there wasn't 100% joy in the process. After 2 years, I realized, wait a minute, this is just a government version of the corporate thing. If that makes any sense. So it's okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One of my clients was, one of the main firefighters in Southern California. Yeah. One of the head fire captains or something. Yeah.
Oh wait, who are you talking about?
Yeah. It's a woman.
Oh, all right. Oh, really? Do you know her name? Do you remember her name? What is she?
I'd have to look it up.
Was she wildland or was she city? Like a regular structure firefighting? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Because female, like upper level female firefighters are very rare, and their names are very well known. Because I'm very impressed. I know
her. She was amazing. Like her ability to take this concept of energy and drive it into the team and what she was creating as her team. And it was really cool to see. And, firefighters, at least from working with her and a couple of the other ones that, weren't at her level, a lot of heart, man, super lot of heart. And I love that.
And that was one of the biggest wake-up calls when I did that 2-year adventure career was, and I literally just finished a chapter on brotherhood. I'm actually going to rebrand that as brotherhood, sisterhood, because I did work alongside of female firefighters too. And I feel like that's more important because in the end, it's like the symbolism of that chapter is the connectivity that you develop when you risk your lives with other people. I always wondered about that, after 9/11 and seeing all that, everybody from first responders just come together. I have chills when I talk about it. I get goosebumps on my arms. So, and that was one of the things. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I never had that in the corporate space. Like I was a coach. I had a team. I'd try and be there when one of my employees was having an issue with their child and trying to help them get a day off and stuff like that. But it's not the same, man. Once you once you risk your life with people and you learn to trust each other as a close-knit family, it's a whole different level of energy.
Yeah. Yeah. We do amazing things. Like I always say this, they say the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. I say the energy of the leader is the success of the team. It's like if we solve the energy of the leader, the team succeeds exponentially.
You know, I love that because if you have a leader who has, and I had a few of these over the years, who have very poor energy, I'll just leave it at that. I won't make it worse, but it brings down the team or the family. Just like, you know, there's that old saying of a team is only as strong as its weakest link, you know, like a chain. Same thing. I mean, whether it's a fellow team member or the leader, if the leader allows themselves to become the weakest link because of their energy, that's going to affect everybody because you're an influencer. You're influencing everybody in the team, or in this case, with your influence, like the company or the businesses you're working with.
Right. Yeah. And it's really powerful because people are like, well, don't you want to work with my management? But I'm like, yeah, let's work with you first. I want dollars in the door, and I want you to be doing amazing, and I want you and your family to be doing better together. And when we solve that energy, everything starts to work together.
So with what you do you prefer to go top-down approach because of the influencer factor?
I don't have a preference, but it has to be somebody in a pretty significant leadership position.
Okay.
I worked with the yogurt company. I won't say the name. The yogurt company that is owned by somebody who is 40 under 40. Okay. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, I follow that stuff. I pick up what you're throwing down.
Yeah, and so you know, I helped him when his energy was wonky, and you know, the company was doing okay. But as soon as we sorted that energetic out, the company went whoosh, and you can see them in every store now. And so it's easier if I do it that way. But if the top guy signs out or top girl signs off on it and they're like, I'm totally into it, you find the best, yeah, great, then that works well. But if it's a secret, it doesn't work so well.
Interesting. Yeah, because I was actually, I'll go back to do a little screen share again. The bottom of your book page on your site, you have like topics that you like to reference here, like chaos to clarity, profits from the inside out, how to have more energy and feel fabulous. Love that word, fabulous. Modern wisdom for today's mad world. So, but here you go, leading from center, exhausted to energized. Like these last couple here, stress less than 2 minutes, brain boost for productivity. Like for me, leading from the center and exhausted to energized, like what you just talked about, I think is crucial, right? I think a lot of leadership or people in leadership, because I've been in leadership positions, you have a high risk of getting burned out or exhausted. So being aware of that energy, I think, is crucial to be an amazing, successful leader. Is that kind of what you like to enjoy to focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, generally we'll use caffeine or alcohol or like intense workouts to get that adrenaline, to get the brain pumping.
Yeah.
And that's good, and it can last for a while, but at the end, the flip side of that is the consequence is so great to the rest of your life. And we as humans, if we give ourselves the ability to learn that center piece, that midline kind of like, it's almost like it's kind of like this, you just imagine a line down the middle of your world, and it's like you just breathe from that and it allows you to go ahead. And most people live and breathe from the left brain, or live and breathe from the right brain, or live and breathe from the adrenals, and those are only have so much capacity. And if we go and live from the center and we teach from the center, and then it goes from them to their team, sales, whatever, then things become easier. And it's kind of like, I remember this guy I was helping, he had a tech company, and super over the top ADD, super over the top, probably one of my tougher cases.
Oh, sounds like it.
I know, right? He's amazing. But the tech company and the coder was just having like bad problems all over the map. And so I said, listen, bring me in, take me into a meeting, and I want to hear what's happening. And so I heard how he was interacting and the energy that he was emoting, even though he wasn't emoting any bad, according to anybody else.
Right.
But the energy told the story. And I was like, okay, so you're having this coding problem. It's been going on for probably a year and it's cost you way too much money. Let's solve it. And he says, that's impossible, Sheevaun. You are a lunatic and I've been working with you for a while. I said, trust me, it works every time. So I had him do some exercises and we sorted out the energetics. And within 4 or 5 days, they went into the meeting and he's like, they solved it. They solved the coding problem. I was like, see?
And how did the rest of that conversation go?
He was like, you just blow my mind every time.
Okay.
Really.
And how long have you two been working? How long have you two been working together up until that point?
We've been working together a couple of years, probably like 3 years, and we went from he had a deficit of about $5 million, and that by that time we got him to he was at about 12 million at that time.
Nice.
And yeah, so
that's a huge turnaround.
I
mean, you're moving a 27 million shift. I mean, that's from the negative to the positive. So, or sorry, is that right? No.
Shift, yeah.
No, 12 to 5, wait, 5 to 12, sorry, 17. Still.
17, yeah.
I mean, going from 5 negative to 5 positive is big enough. So,
yeah, exactly.
Actually, my math is still wrong. But anyway, the point is, that's about right.
Well, what he said to me was, he said, the reason what you do works for me is because I just say, okay, that's freaking weird. I'll do it. I don't care.
So is this one of those situations where you put him through enough repetitions of weird stuff that he just got to the point where like, it's still weird because I'm ADD or whatever, or ADHD, but it's like, it's still weird, but she's got a pretty good track record, so I just have to accept it.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay. So with all the principles that you're doing, because I dug through your site and I just got done relaunching each page separately. So I'm going to go back to some sharing again for the video watchers. Again, you guys can do all this on the site. I'm just doing some of the work for you. So when people go to your main site, you obviously have under your programs, you have links to your blog. So there's plenty of free content there, right? But then you've got 3 different programs I clicked on, right? You got Ignite, you have your Innovators Circle, and then your CEO program. So obviously you've created 3 key programs to target certain audiences. Now, do you find that there's still a core principles that fall across all 3 of those domains of target audiences? Or do you actually really have to adapt what you do completely uniquely to each of those areas?
Yeah, I think about this a lot. So I take like the people in the Ignite, somewhere in their world, their money has broken. Whatever was working isn't working. And so we actually have to reset and help them reset their prosperity line, where they want to go, how they're going to get there, and the language. Because once somebody's prosperity has broken or plateaued for a long time, they actually have to learn a new language set. So,
and you're referring to a lot of times it's your inner speak inside of your head, right? Is that the language you're talking about?
Yeah. So if you've had some sort of break or trauma or something like that, and you're like, I am done with me, I'm sick of me, I'm not doing it the same way. Well, it's like you've thrown out all of your language set that got you, that got you to the success, which is usually like will and hard work and all of these old ancient models of like man, power, intensity, etc.
I can relate to that actually. What you're talking about. You ever hear the author Michael Michalowicz?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So I have all of his books, and I actually use and follow his profit first methodology because I read the first edition and the second edition, and he's been on the show, and I've been on his show. But I'll just say I was not the most financially savvy person over the years, and I've always beat myself up about it. The only difference from then to today is I've changed that inner language. And I think one of the biggest components of that was actually learning his system, especially me being an entrepreneur and learning to say, hey, it's okay to put your profit first, and it's okay to have an owner's pay and pay you because you're your most important employee, and yada, yada, yada. So it's interesting that we're talking about this right now because it just popped in my head. And I wanted to see if you actually knew who I was talking about, because that's some of that inner speak that I had to start reprogramming to embrace financial success more.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew Carnegie, I learned that from him through the books that were on my dad's shelf. So we start with that. And then if people want a tribe, then we help them either bring themselves into the innovator circle. And it's the reason it's innovators is because generally people focus who help people get better in business or take their next step or whatever that is. They focus on one area of business. And because I deal with energetics and I've grown businesses, I've helped businesses get big and sold, and I've done the VC thing, and I've helped people get through the VC thing, from like even just a nugget of an idea just to six figures or millions and even in one case billions. But some people want a tribe, and they need to know that, well, it's not just all coaches. It's not just all, people making widgets. It's not just all, so it's really, when you talk about I call us woolas, the woo-woo who likes the money, woola. So when we bring those together, it's like, oh my gosh, well, there's this amazing photographer in Hollywood. We just did a mastermind that was kind of an ad hoc one. There's this amazing photographer that's in Hollywood, and you would never know in a million years that she had the woo side. And then there's an internet marketing dude who is like, you would never guess, ever guess. And then there was somebody who was, oh gosh, I don't remember what they make, but they make some product. And, their common thing is they have this woo side, and it's all business. And we don't know who to connect with or collaborate with, that we can have those conversations that are slightly outside of the norm and grow our business.
Well, everything you're hinting on is basically, there's all different names for them. The most common is a mastermind community or a mastermind group or whatever. The point is that, you want to surround yourself with people of a like-mindedness, because at the basic levels of psychology, human beings are meant to be around other human beings. You can't cut yourself off. It's going back to energy. That's really going to mess with your energy, right? Yeah. So I love the fact you have this opportunity, because yes, especially if you're really geeking out about innovation and you want to get, as my term, fuel for the fire, right? You want to get fired up. Well, why not put yourself in an inner circle of influence like this, for example, that you're surrounding yourself with people who, one, have already done it, or two, are also struggling or trying to work through like you are. And it's like, oh, I'm not alone.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think so weird. Oh, look, all these people kind of have this thing that I think. Oh, cool. I love figure out how to speak about it.
That's what I love about like Facebook groups and stuff like that. Like, some are public, but the ones that are usually more private, they're much more like yours. It's like, it's more inner circle. It's more private. Yeah. I think some people will feel more safe in there because if you're entrepreneurial or you're starting to become entrepreneurial and you're surrounded by family and friends that you're around all the time and they're happy W-2, employees. Yeah. This has happened to me where it's that they're like, dude, just go get a job, man. You'll be fine. I'm like, no. Yeah. Eventually you hear that enough and it's like, I need to surround myself with people that think like I do.
Yeah.
And it's nothing, no offense to them. They can keep doing their thing, but we got to do our thing.
Well, and never get advice from somebody who's never, exceeded what you're looking to do. So
it was a famous quote, like never get advice from broke, unhappy people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a pretty good one.
That's a good one. But yeah, it's like if somebody is a W-2 person, they can't understand that your soul is saying, I got to do this. It doesn't make sense to you. I get it. I'm not going to stop doing it, but I got to do this. And you're going to keep telling me that it's not working.
Oh. Well, and then you move from, something like the Ignite component, and then you have the inner circle component. And then obviously you've got this program here for CEO program, right? Like, so this is is this for people that are already in that position, or you're trying to level people up to this level of mindset?
Everybody is different. So I have a CMO in there. I've got people who are just like, I have a big mission and vision, and I need somebody to really guide me in all of the pieces. Like, we've got this great client in Canada who's creating spaces inside of organizations to do, it's not meditation, but it's mindful work, and to so we actually helped her create that entire template. Now she's in her second client who is adopting it into their organization, and she's been interviewed by the government to bring it in there. And so, like, she just had a concept, and we just helped her build that out and flesh that out, and how to get paid for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm helping a couple right now. Like, he's an oncologist doctor and his wife is a health coach. So they have two different energies, right? But they both care about health.
Yeah.
And they're trying to build a bigger brand thanks to their blog and everything else. So shout out to ourhealthhabit.com. And their blog has just passed a year old, and now they want to start growing the brand a little bit and taking it more seriously. And I love it. But they haven't really, they're getting all excited about creating a logo. And I'm like, guys, let's slow down. Okay. We really need to define who each of you are, how you come forth in your blog, how you want to be portrayed throughout the brand. The logo comes later. I can't stand people who just go and I've got a brand, I'm going to slap a logo on it.
Scott, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, I figured you'd appreciate that. It's like, that was the first thing I did. I was like, so I'm going to send you over a little exercise. It's called a creative brief. Each of you are required to do it separately and not show each other's answers. And then I want you to wait 2 or 3 days, put that aside, and do it all over again separately. Yeah. Because now your brain's getting unlocked. I made him go through it 3 times separately.
Oh, cool.
And then the next coaching call, I had him come back on, and I said, okay, right before the call, I'm like, okay, now to respect the time and your time with me, you got to take all 3 of your copies, sum them up, and find common ground. And that was hard for them.
Yeah, right?
there was some stuff that they merged on, but there was definitely some clear messaging differences. I was like, this is important. If you want to continue both your messages throughout your brand, it's okay to have 2 different energies, but we have to make sure that is, portrayed the right way. Because one guy's all science and the other one's more, emotion and energy and coaching. So I'm having fun with it. So it's. But I figured you'd appreciate something like that.
Yeah, I think that's important. And so, so when people say, I'm doing all my branding, I get a little like, it's not about the website or the brand. Yep. It's, can you sell, and what are you selling? And is anybody going to understand you?
Well, the other thing is like, okay, like they're like, she's selling, coaching time with her. So she's still exchanging time for money. She doesn't have any platforms or programs yet. But what you just pointed out is, good, you figured out what you love to sell. And my key word there is love, right?
Yeah.
Does your product or service bring you joy to bring it to the world?
That's right.
If you end up hating it after a month or 2, it's probably not a good thing you want to work with. So,
totally right.
All right, going back to your pieces of joy, the right energy, the right alignment. This is something that if crap goes wrong, you still got to feel good about it. So I don't think people think about that stuff.
No, they really don't. They look at, internet marketing. Like, I write a whole bunch of stuff on Quora, and I got incensed one day, and I was like, I will debunk these things. And so one of the questions, that is often out there on a common, consistent basis is, well, I have a brand and I have this thing and I really want to do internet marketing, and how much money can I make? It's like, whoa, back up.
You're going right for the money. That's already a bad sign.
It totally is. Yeah. I mean, I get the money thing, but joy actually will attract and bring more money into your system than you could even fathom. I mean, it's amazing.
If it's all transactional and all business and just chasing the dollar, where you're not going to attract. There's that law of attraction, right? Let's tie back full circle to The Secret, right? The law of attraction. Like, same thing goes with a two-way relationship. Like, you're expecting to attract more customers and more consumers of your content, but there's no joy, there's no energy, there's no magnetism to draw you in, there's no passion. Like, I'm not trying to, I don't care. I mean, I hope to get eventually millions and millions of downloads, right? But it's like, with this show, it's like, I don't actually need to. I've got a very loyal following that are subscribed. They keep moving the content. I got people out there sharing the shows. That's when you know you start doing stuff the right way, and it excites me. And people are like, oh, my own fiance, she said, you haven't even monetized the show yet. I'm like, have I? Have I not? I might not have commercials, but I got people calling me and hiring me to help them. So
Yeah.
technically,
right.
I have monetized the show, but have not forced it. It's happened naturally. So,
yeah. And that's important. I mean, a lot of people look for the short dollar and the short term, and fix, hurry. Whoops.
Yep. That's fine.
We fell.
Yeah.
Fix, hurry. And then what happens is it breaks the entire system, and you may make a whole bunch at one time.
Yeah.
But you're not going to do it for the long haul. Is that the pup?
Can you hear him? See, this microphone usually cancels it out. Totally. Calvin the Coonhound. Shout out to Calvin. Calvin's very excited. He's not actually doing very well. We just found out he's got cancer. So not to bring this show down, but he's like still healthy as can be, but he's had a bad elbow for a few months. We just took him in for a very expensive procedure, and we found out that the labs are coming back saying it's cancer, but we don't know what kind yet. So
okay, so I'm going to go off on a weird tangent with that. So there's this.
It's okay. We're coming towards the end of the show. Let's have fun.
Yeah, I know. Sorry. Well, Calvin started it. So there's this thing, and you talked about it earlier, magnesium oil. Mm-hmm. So we take it internally, but we don't take it externally. So we have a product on our site, magnesium oil, and you put it on externally, and it actually goes and starts solving things internally.
Interesting.
And it's good. It's good for, dogs and humans, but if like you have an ache or a pain, or you have something that is going on in the system, it gives the body the ability to have free space to start doing its job, healing itself. Oh. So the body is the greatest healing mechanism with the right energy and right intention. Same with the business. It's the right energy, the right healing, the right intention, and the business thrives. It's virtually hand in hand for me.
Is that your spray?
So magnesium oil. Yeah.
I just found it, so that's why I was asking. So I didn't even see the shop thing on your site. I was digging into your actual content this whole time, and I didn't even realize. Let's throw it up there real quick, ladies and gents. Soothing spray.
I didn't mean to do that. I was just giving service.
Yeah. No, that's fine. No, because I already believe in magnesium and using the right minerals and nutrients. So, people talk about putting coconut oil on their skin all the time and olive oil in their hair years ago, the Italians and stuff like that. So like when you put the right nutrients in and on the body, it's an amazing thing. Now, granted, this helps from that, but I tell people all the time, going back to the power of fueling your body the right way too, internally. It's like, I'm a big component. Like I'm wearing, if you heard about this, a new documentary movie will be out by 2019 called Fat, a documentary, the truth behind healthy fats. And I've been helping with that project. So a famous podcaster, Vinny Tortorich of Fitness Confidential, best-selling book called Fitness Confidential. He's the creator of this movie. And we crowdfunded this sucker on Indiegogo. So the people have spoken and they want the movie. But the point here is that he owns the trademark NSNG, which is no sugar, no grains, because we have the scientists that he's putting in the movie to prove that excessive sugar and grain intake has triggered so much inflammatory response, and it impacts your gut flora and your gut health and so many other things. So even a product as amazing as what you're offering, I tell people, like, yes, use that. But what if you can also reduce the internal inflammation from within by the right nutrition and the right vitamins and minerals and everything else? It all works. It all works together. The energy, the sunlight, your water.
Inside, outside.
Yeah. Yep. It's one big full circle.
Inside, outside.
But people get overwhelmed. They don't know where to start with. And I tell them, like, listen, start getting your sleep consistent, right? Like, don't be going to bed at 2 a.m. and then 11 p.m. and then 1 a.m. and then 9 p.m. Like, what is that? Your circadian rhythm's a mess. Don't be on a computer and a smart device.
Or one simple thing is just have 2 glasses of water when you first wake up. Super simple. Start with always just one thing.
I chug a bottle like this as soon as I wake up.
You're ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Well, again,
you're ahead of the curve, dude.
I've been at this for a few years, so it's and me being once you find joy in something, it becomes obsessive. And I tell people all the time, like, people think I'm crazy about health and fitness, but I'm like, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm 41. Actually, my fiance, you'll appreciate this. My fiance and she and I both won a CrossFit competition 2 weeks ago. So it's like, all right, well, I'm 41, and everybody that I was up against was either in their late 20s or early 30s. So I had at least 10 years on them. So, yeah.
There you go.
Age is only a number, people. It's your energy.
Age is only a number.
Yeah.
That's right. It's so true.
So listen, Sheevaun, we've been rocking the mics today, and I got to get ready for another show, and I want to respect your time as well. But
thank you.
Yeah, you have so much going on. I absolutely love it. You got the book. We just learned about magnesium spray. I'm loving that. I'm going to dig deeper into that after the show. I love all the different programs because you really can help lots of different people and different professionals. So that aside, I have my guest co-host close the show out. This is something that I know you'll have no problem doing. I like to ask you guys to kind of, like, for the people that are listening or watching, I know you have one, is there an all-encompassing message that with everything you're doing, you're trying to put out to the world? Because I know you kind of gave me a hint that you tear down your business and you rebuild it every December to bring a fresh experience into 2019 and 20 and beyond. But there's usually some type of all-encompassing message either right now or going into next year, or maybe it goes over top of everything that is fueling your fire. So what do you got for us in case they forget everything else we shared today?
Yeah. So my core thing is, you don't know when you're going to leave, and don't be in the past. Don't be in the future. Be in this instant. That means if all you get is one breath, because I've been at that place, if all you get is one breath and you're not sure you're going to be here again, then make sure that you take that breath and then ask for another and then ask for another. So take one breath, take a step, take one breath, take a step, take one breath, take a step, rather than the whole past, present, and future. And you're going to be there sooner than you know. And the joy is just going to bubble from the inside. But that one breath, man, it is that all-encompassing energy that allows so many nutrients in, all the good thoughts, the good ideas, etc. If you allow that one breath to be possible and just fill your entire being, it will get you so far. And it's all energy first. Energy first, mind second, body follows what the energy does every single time.
Wow. I love that. And I've heard that in so many different ways. So that's why I love hearing stuff from influencers like yourself. It's like a new guest co-host gets to put it their way. And I love that as I bring on more and more people that get what you do, I'm hearing this more and more. It might not be every week, it might not be every month, but I have it trickling in every so often. And it's good to see this happening more and more. People understand the importance of your energy, the joy, the passion. It's driving the body, it's driving the physical results, but your mindset and your energy, everything. I love that. So listen, hang tight. I want to give you a proper goodbye. Absolutely. Yeah. But hang tight. I'll give you a proper goodbye off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, that's another powerful Live the Fuel podcast show. So again, all the show notes, her social media profiles, as always, everything will be on livethefuel.com for this episode. Make sure you check her out at SheevaunMoran.com. Again, whether it's a program, a book, guys, the blog is where it's at. Why not take advantage of free content? I tell people all the time, blogs, podcasts, her site is loaded. You got plenty of stuff to go with here. I'm doing a final screen share for the YouTube feed. So there is no excuses. We have new influencers. We have new co-hosts every single week. Take advantage of this content. Thanks for tuning in to another Live the Fuel show. And again, she did it. I did it. We're all here to do it for you guys. We're here to fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. Thanks for listening. But again, please share. Please take action and share this with somebody else you think is going to benefit from this content. That's what really matters. Sharing is caring. So thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys again soon. Remember, you too can live the fuel. All right, you're free of the pod. I just leave the video on for fun. So a little extra for YouTube love. Shout out to the YouTube people, because a lot of podcasts are not on YouTube, and I like to show some love to them. So I get like a little behind the scenes at the end here. So I hope you had some fun.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
It was amazing. Yeah, thank you. I love that. It's very refreshing for me. I've been doing this a long time, and to see that people are having the conversation. 5 years ago it was better. This year is even better. I can see where it's going, and it's like, okay, it's not all for naught.
Oh,
Don't quit,
are you
Sheevaun.
referring to the growing podcast industry, or you're just saying
no, the people who like woo. I had one of the early podcasts, so it's still up there somewhere. But I know how much work it is.
It is.
But no, the woo thing, the woo in the business, because for a long time I've been on my own island, and now people are coming to my island.
I never even literally thought about the word woo until that StrengthsFinder book many years ago. And now I use that with a lot of my clients. I make them put their team. I was like, you order a book for every single person. They're all going to go through it, because I want to find out who on your team is a fellow woo. Because I'm gonna vibe with those people. So, and let's be real. You did point out people can develop the woo. So people still watching this on YouTube, don't think like, oh my God, if I took the StrengthsFinder 2.0 test, or I work with a coach and I don't come across wooey. You will find as you grow with passion and joy in something, you become an influencer, even part-time and then eventually full-time. And you are wooing people with your knowledge and your energy. So, and you don't have to be a sales and marketing professional like me to do it.
Right. Yeah, woo is inherently us. We've just been like, if you're on a cell phone, you're actually in woo. Because listen, 100 years ago, a cell phone that you could speak to and there'd be a video on, that was a good concept, but that's super woo, man.
Oh God, yeah. The fact that you can accidentally, which happened to me today, accidentally hit FaceTime, and you call somebody and they actually pick up in the middle of a meeting, like, hey man, what do you need? I'm like, oh dude, I did not mean to FaceTime you, my bad. And just hang up. I haven't had that happen in months. And I was, good times. I was like, why did you pick up later on? Like, why did you pick up? He's like, I thought it was an emergency. I was like, dude, you live in South Carolina. It's like, we're 9 hours apart. There's no emergency that you can help with. Anyway, this has been great. I love your energy. I love your style. Obviously, I'll be notifying you guys once you'll get an email blast with an update, and I send out. It's not going to all of a sudden be on the show, and you'll find out like a month later that you've been online. So don't worry.
Good, thanks. Yeah, we like to share out in the world what I'm doing.
Usually, if you are, wooing, So that's what I tell people all the time. Like, that's a value of YouTube and podcasting. It's like, guys, like, this is all new content for your brand. So more people need to learn about you and what you're doing. So
that's good. Yeah.
Well, thank you again.
Cool. Super grateful. You're amazing. You are probably one of the best diggers of good questions, man. Totally great.
I'm trying to get, we're over 2 years old now. So I've been putting in the reps, 2 shows a week. You got to get better at something. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, or else I'm probably back to the drawing board.
Yeah. Good.
But thank you.
All right, my dear.
I'm honored for the feedback.
Hugs. Thank you.
All right.
Have fun. I appreciate you. Talk soon.
All right. Bye-bye.